So I just watched episode 6 of The Mighty Nein. For those of you just joining us, I'm a big fan of the original campaign that the show is based off of, and I've been very excited to see the show for literal years. And from a fan's perspective, this was a very fun episode. It's very fan servicey. There are a lot of nods to the original D&D campaign. They throw in Tusk Love, the running gag porn book they mention a lot. We got a little bit of Yasha. Presumably she's finally going to meet the group next episode, so that's exciting. You get the first introduction of the gentleman. You even get Nidus from the original Calamity prequel series. That was a great nod, because when they were doing this, building up this pirate captain, pre-Calamity pirate captain, I'm like, I don't remember pre-Calamity pirate captain in this part of the Mighty Nein. Why does that name sound familiar? And then they do this arcane projection of Nidus, and the moment he starts talking, I'm like, oh, that's Lou. Okay.
At the helm, the ringmaster of a circus of impossible wealth. Lou, could you please describe your character?
Yeah, let's go.
I felt like an idiot. I'm like, it's a great moment, and also made perfect sense to tie him with Ford's nautical magic shenanigans, but we'll get to that. Those parts I liked, and I think from a fan perspective, it was a really warm, pleasant thing to watch. Overall, structurally, I do think the story has some writing issues, not like moment to moment, but more of an overarching thing. The story starts, for example, with the group reaching Zadash, and their plan is to find a new amulet for Caleb, so that the wizards can't scry on them. This would be fine, except the last episode ended with him about to tell the group his backstory, and so we don't get to see their reaction to him telling them that he murdered his family, and also him, like, explaining how he feels about that, and, like, where he is, or how he got from point A to B, because the way this is structured, you're like, okay, he burned his family, and clearly he's not on good terms with Trent now, but there's, like, a gap that now the audience doesn't understand of, like, okay, how did he get away? Did he get away right there? What happened? Like, no suggestion of psychological break that happens after that, or the sanatorium, or anything. So it feels very incomplete from the audience perspective and from a group cohesion perspective, because then this is the consequence of them revealing this information so early. This whole subplot of them getting an amulet to protect Caleb so he doesn't die doesn't work as well, because this is happening before anyone besides Not cares about him. They just met this guy. They met at a circus, fought some people, got thrown in a jail cell together, and kind of hate each other. Hate is a strong word, but they aren't on good foot. Why are they staying together, right? Like, they haven't become a group or anything. They haven't established why they're staying together. So it feels off when they're like, oh, we gotta protect Caleb and this, and like Bo is kind of butting heads with him, and that makes sense. But everyone else is kind of fine. And it feels weird. If they had Caleb only tell his backstory to Not and Bo, as was in the original, I think it would have felt cleaner, because then Bo could have her friction with him while the other group not really understanding that, he killed his whole family. I think that would have worked better, but they decided for him to tell the whole group. So it feels weird that we don't really get a reaction from anyone besides Bo to that piece of information. I don't know. I think it doesn't feel right, but it's how they're getting to this point. I like the idea of using the Caleb amulet thing to get them to the gentleman and introducing the gentleman. The gentleman was a delight. I was very happy to see him. I had crazy smile on my face when he showed up. I was delighted. I was delighted. They had to get presents for him, so there's a brief shopping thing. I assume they're gonna do more in-depth shopping next episode. I'm assuming Pumat's soul is gonna show up next episode, which will be really exciting because I'm almost certain Matt is gonna voice that one. During this like preliminary shopping scene, though, we get several things. Astrid is scrying on Caleb. So scrying still works the way it usually does, and that's a huge problem because now they can just be spied on at any opportunity, which is why they need the amulet. I liked Astrid's reaction to seeing Bren after so many years. It worked pretty well. The other big thing that happened in that section of the story was Bo talking to her mentor Dyron and giving information that proves that Trent is the person who stole the beacon. And then she mentions that Caleb is an ex-Volstrucker, which I don't believe she actually tells Dyron that in the original. Doing it this way, I don't know. If Dyron knows that Caleb's ex-Volstrucker, and considering her whole investigation is on Trent and his Volstruckers, I would think that she would want to interrogate him or something, but she just kind of brushes it off and is like, be careful, whatever, he can't be trusted, but doesn't think of like, I mean, unless she can't punch the truth out of him. For those of you who don't know, the type of monk Bo and Dyron are, they can kind of literally punch the truth out of you. You'd think that she'd want to do that to Caleb, or at least try to interrogate him if he is Volstrucker, right? But she doesn't. Weird, but whatever, it's minor. She takes the information that Bo gives her and gets Trent arrested. Now, this Trent getting arrested subplot, wild. Because I'm like, what? This is so early for Trent's involvement with the beacon to come out. It's mind-blowing. It's mind-blowing. So he goes to prison, he gets tortured. Astrid and Eowulf almost save him, but he ends up talking to the king and talking him out of executing him, and then the king knows about the beacon in this version. Just like, what? And then Essek realizes they're gonna use it during a wartime situation, and Essek is horrified and then saves this other guy, and then when he saves this other guy, the other guy realizes he stole the beacon. So the two instigators of the war get outed this episode. Episode 6 already. Both of them outed. And the Mighty Nein has not even met either of them. It's like, well, this is so early for this to be happening. This guy is either not going to tell on Essek, or Essek's going to kill him next episode, which I kind of hope he does, because they've really softened Essek enough. Like, they need to get back on...
To war crime.
I understand why they've softened Essek for audience palatability or whatever, but the way they're playing Essek in the show feels very late game Essek. Not the Essek we meet at the beginning of the story. I mean, he was a cold cucumber at the beginning of the story. And then you see the other side of him. Then you see the defrosting and all that.
My mother has never made Kraft cheese.
He's so much more sympathetic in this version. I understand why, but his arc and his story and what happens with him and the rest of the characters in the Mighty Nein are going to have less of an impact if they soften him this much. He needs to be more... I'm sorry. He needs to be more evil at the onset for the weight of that story to matter. But I don't know. That's just my opinion. I told myself I'd withhold judgment on these type of things till the end of the season. I don't know. Maybe we'll see what happens. But they have softened a lot of characters. Bo is much softer. And I understand. She's very abrasive. I feel like making her less abrasive at the onset will make her arc less punchy. I mean, her arc I really liked in the original, and I think they're gonna follow those the same blueprint, but it will not have the same power because she's not as abrasive as she was before. But, it is what it is. The other consequence of softening Essek and having Trent's whole deal be revealed to the king this early is I feel like the blame for the war is being much stronger on the Empire's side. The Empire is so much more the aggressor in this. Not that it wasn't before, but the writing is taking sides in this in a way that, I don't know, I think it was a little more nuanced in the original, but it is what it is. It's fine. It was a cool end scene seeing them use the beacon for military stuff. That's new and interesting to watch. But that is the B plot, political machinations plot. The main plot with the Mighty Nein is the gentleman gives them this job to go into the horde of Nidus and all of his traps, and there's many, many references to the prequel series in that, which was delightful to see.
Jeez Louise, this Nidus guy really had a thing for dragons.
I am the last dragon of Avalier, and you will do as I command.
If you hear that noise, I apologize. I think it's the fridge. They have several little character plots going on. The main one is Bo and Caleb not trusting each other and them having serious trust issues and kind of being at each other's necks and all of that. Besides my issue with how we've introduced this, with whole, Caleb revealing this information and then people not reacting to it except Bo. I like it. I think it worked pretty well. The Caleb power move of basically stranding her in the middle of a invisible rock maze was kind of awesome. Very in character. He never did anything like that in the original campaign, but it feels like something he would totally do, especially early campaign Caleb. Them having to come to terms with trusting each other and relying on each other, and their kind of grudging sibling relationship they have going start to blossom was very satisfying because their friendship is very, very fun. We have not getting drunk on the job, which is, it was a fun running. I think that scene is almost lifted from the fighting in the Knoll cave when she gets drunk that one time and starts dismantling traps. I think they took that and placed that here, which works really well. So they're trying to find this magical compass in the horde of this ancient magical pirate guy. And during that, Ford starts to hear a voice in his head and is led to a glowing golden ball. It feels a little rushed because everything, other people's plots kind of took center stage and in the background his is going on. But I was happy to get that started because I can't wait for them to go to the ocean. That'll be so much fun. But that's later. That's definitely season 2. That's a season 2 problem. Let's not worry about that. But he gets his first orb, and there is this mini plot that I think they did not set up well enough. But I like the idea where he has an opportunity to kind of leave the group behind and go his own way and chooses to come back and save them after looking at Jester's sketchbook and thinking about how much he means to her, clearly. And he goes back and saves them. They just needed to set up that he was considering leaving the group before that scene. It feels off that it kind of comes out of nowhere. There was plenty of opportunity in those arguments of why are we helping each other, of him being why don't we just leave? They didn't really set that up. I wish they had. I think it would have made that moment stronger, but it's a minor thing. It was a fun conflict at the end with those automatons lighting up, which is a nice reference to Nidus's job in the prequel series.
Rolled up onto giant Carol Hulks that you built after all. And you look up and
You're welcome.
It worked well. I like seeing them work as a group. It's deeply satisfying watching them work as a group. both as a fan and just, I think visually they do a good job of showcasing their teamwork and their different styles and their different magic systems. I've been really impressed with how they have adapted each individual's powers, where it feels very distinct to themselves, and the way they hold themselves doing those spells feel very different. You know, Ford, like, has no idea what he's doing, and it doesn't feel like it's coming from him. It feels like its own thing. Like, it feels like a warlock. It feels strange and unnatural and kind of wild and out of nowhere for him. I think they've achieved the vibe of those powers and how they feel really well. It's a minor thing, but it really is so satisfying watching the chaotic kind of impulsive quality of Ford's powers, of him just kind of doing things, of shape-shifting and teleporting, and him it just happening, and oh, I'm like, I can breathe the water now. Oh, that's cool, really cool. But like him being all over, and then in direct contrast to like Caleb, where like when he uses detect magic and his eyes go purple and everything, it just feels much more controlled and more intrinsic. Just the way those are contrasted, I'm not sure is an intentional thing, but it feels very right, and I've been very satisfied by that. We get our first glimmer of Molly Mock's sort of stuff with Lucian and Kree and blood magic, which I think is adapted very well. Molly's complete bafflement over his own backstory is delightful. I love it. Yeah, I've been really enjoying it. I feel like it was very rushed getting here. I don't think the story has given enough reason for the group to stay together, which is normal in D&D, because D&D, it's like you're playing a game, the reasons we're staying together are kind of outside the story itself. But within the story, I don't think they've achieved an explanation, or at least had some scenes where they're like, oh, let's just go to Zadash together because strength in numbers and all of that, or give some reason why they're a group now, but they haven't. That's probably my biggest criticism of this, because besides that, I like the banter, I like them being together. Like, when they are together, it's fine. It's just, the context is a little off. I think the pacing in this, I don't know, is a little off. Maybe pacing's not the right word. It's more, there are a lot of plots going on at the same time, back and forth. And I think they've done a pretty good job of connecting the Mighty Nine's shenanigans with the main plot. I think it's very smart making the whole interaction with the gentleman be about the amulet, and the amulet being about protecting them from the wizards, and the wizards being this main, like, plot in the background, and that being connected. It doesn't feel too disparate, which I think is impressive, because in the main story, they're doing their own thing, and it feels very separate from the Beacon stuff. I like how they're doing that. I'm very excited for the next episode, because Pumat's soul is definitely next episode. I mean, come on, guys. Come on. So that's going to be fun, and we'll see. We'll see what's happening. But what did you think of episode 6 of The Mighty Nine? Tell me down in the comments below. And if you want to see more videos like this, please subscribe. Also, I have a book, Bonesong, Diary of a Sentient Sword. I release chapters for free every week. Happy reading. Take care.